Hey everybody, it's CometX and welcome back to another Tinkerer's Cube Draft. We've got some pretty powerful stuff in this first pack and I'm excited to get going. So Mono Red is an incredibly powerful strategy in this cube, and at least yesterday, the first day of the cube, it was highly underdrafted. I've drafted Mono Red 3 times now, and each time I went 5-3, 7-1, and 7-1. So Mono Red is really well represented in this cube in terms of the powerful cards. They left in just so many of the strongest cards in there, like Runaway Steamkin and Fanatical Firebrand, Skewer the Critics, Earthshaker Kenra, all of that kind of stuff. So I think taking just one of these powerful red cards like Fanatical Firebrand or Krenko would be fine here. That being said, I have drafted Mono Red several times in a row, so I don't really want to do that again. There's also Gonti. Gonti seems really nice in this cube, just for a lot of value. 4 mana, 2/3, and you're playing whatever the best card from the top 4 of your opponent's library is. There's Ashiok for Mill, and Mill is a strategy in here. They have Ruin Crab, Patient Rebuilding, Merfolk Secret Keeper, bunch of stuff like that in here. Other than that, I guess we're taking like the good white removal spell that combos well in a white-black life gain deck. I think I'm going to take Gonti here. Gonti just seems like the most fun card. 4 mana, 2/3 Death Touch, and we get to cast stuff from our opponent's library. So out of this pack, we have some good stuff for Mono Red. Grim Lavamancer's basically the only good Mono Red card. Iroas's Blessing, I suppose, is an option as well, but this is definitely slower. We have, for a black deck, I'm really mainly looking at like Nighthawk Scavenger. 3 mana for a 1/3 Flying Death Touch lifelink is already great, and if your opponent has any cards in their graveyard, it does get larger for each different card type among them. I think that just seems like a really good follow-up to Gonti. You don't need them to have any cards in their graveyard for this to be okay, and it's just fantastic the more cards they do have in there. There is Field of the Dead in this cube. There's also Golos. There are a decent amount of mana fixing cards as well. We saw Chromatic Lantern last pack, so you can absolutely do like 5-color Field of the Dead or even just 2 or 3-color Field of the Dead. That is still very available in this cube. But I'm going to stick with our first pick. Let's scoop up the Nighthawk Scavenger. I also do think it is one of the better cards in that pack anyway, so we're not passing up on anything super insane. And this is what I mean about Mono Red, like, people just don't take it. So you could absolutely just force Mono Red the vast majority of the time and end up in a pretty powerful deck. So what do we have for our mono black stuff so far? I don't see anything in a second color that really pushes me into that. Like, none of this combos super well with black. None of these blue or white cards here. So I think I'm just taking maybe Farrakha's Libation, have our opponent sacrifice a creature or enchantment. Shadowcat's interesting. It combos with creatures with +1/+1 counters on it, and it gives you a sacrifice outlet. And Davriel is more for like a discard deck. I think I'm just going to take the Libation. Sort of a removal spell there. Now, do we have anything here that works well in black-red? Again, 2 great cards for mono-red, 3 if you count Burn Bright. If you go wide, there are quite a few red cards that make a bunch of tokens in this cube, so Burn Bright even is fine there. I think Chainweb Arachnir is probably the best card to go with black in another color, because black-green makes a Reanimator kind of deck that has a lot of self-mill. So you'll have a lot of cards in your graveyard. You can escape cards like Chainweb Arachnir pretty easily. The only problem with that is you also do have a lot of Reanimator spells, so you don't really want to exile all the cards from your graveyard, especially not the creatures. That being said, I think I like the Arachnir over the Brain Maggot. But I suppose if we take Brain Maggot, we do get to stick to mono black, and our second color is still completely open. That's kind of nice. Brain Maggot's not that bad. Disrupts whatever your opponent's game plan is by taking stuff out of their hand. So I have also drafted Green-Black Reanimator 3 times. If you want to see any of these drafts, I do draft a lot more live on Twitch, just do the daily drafts on YouTube. So I don't really want to draft Green-Black again, but Acolyte of Affliction this late is a great sign for that strategy. It is a really fun strategy. You just take a lot of cards that mill yourself, like the Acolyte, like there's a 1-mana 1/1 Stitcher Supplier that mills you 3 and then mills you 3 more when it dies, and then you have several powerful Reanimator spells to cast on your big green monsters. Grim Dancer is really nice too, and that's just really good in black or black-green. I'm going to scoop up the Grim Dancer here. I'll still just remain open. Maybe I just end up in mono black here. That'd be really weird. So Priest of the Forgotten Gods is good if you have some token production or just a ton of creatures. I don't think it's good with what we have right now because most of our creatures are individually powerful to where we wouldn't really want to sacrifice them, except for like Brain Maggot maybe. But I don't think it's perfect for our kind of deck. Gutterbones works well with self-mill, and I think there's at least a little bit of mono black self-mill. Stitcher's Supplier mills yourself, Gorging Vulture mills yourself, and both of those cards are just black, so we don't even need to be green-black necessarily to get good use out of the Gutterbones, and you don't even need to be self-mill. This works great in Rakdos as well, in red-black, because you have sacrifice outlets like Priest of Forgotten Gods, and you can keep recasting it from your grave that way. Alright, well now we have to take something in a second color. We can take Kazul's Fury for the red-black sacrifice deck. We could take Voracious Typhon for the green-black self-mill deck. Is there anything else here that works particularly great with our black? Sweltering Suns might be a decent pick here, because we do seem like we could be a slower, more more control-y deck. I suppose all of our creatures do currently die to the Sweltering Suns, but all our creatures are like Death Touchers right now, so we are just trying to kill whatever our opponent's doing, so Suns could be okay. I think I just like Typhon or Kazul's Fury here, just because they're the best in the color pairs. Guess I'll pick up the Typhon. We'll see if the Golgari Reanimator stuff is open again. Active Treason would be good in Rakdos Sacrifice. Roar of the Worm is fine in Golgari Self-Mill, because if you mill this card, you can get a 6/6 for only 4 mana. If you don't mill this card, though, 7 mana for a 6/6 out of your hand is very expensive. It's pretty weak in that situation. Kendra's Transformation is kind of okay removal. You get to shut off their creature's abilities and draw a card, but you do turn it into a 3/3, and if we're in a black deck anyway, we can probably just scoop up black removal. That'll just kill it no matter what. I guess I'll take the Roar of the Worm there. Now, Ashiok Dreamrender is still in the pack if we want to try to do maybe blue-black mill. Nighthawk Scavenger does like being used in a mill deck because it gets larger based on how many cards are in our opponent's graveyard. And technically, Gonti mills our opponent 1 card, because we take 1 card out of their top 4. I think Ashiok is just the strongest card left in here. Angrath is an option too, though, because we can cast Angrath off of just mono black. Mono red is incredibly open here. If I were literally just trying to win, I probably would have forced mono red again and ended up in a pretty solid deck, because none of these red cards have been taken again. I'll just take the Baleful Ammit here. We've just got a bunch of black lifelinkers now, Grim Dancer, Nighthawk Scavenger, and Baleful Ammit, so that opens up into a pretty powerful black-white life gain deck as well. Again, mono red still here. Barrenmoor for the cycling land, or Davriel to make our opponent discard some cards, kind of disrupt their game plan a little. I guess I'll take the Davriel, see how well that works.
Seen my face and lived, I think.
Now we can take the real late Chainweb Arachneer for Golgari Reanimator. And there were still some great red cards there. We do get a really late Merfolk Secret Keeper too for mill. So maybe blue-black mill, maybe green-black self-mill. Either way, somebody's getting milled here. Last pick, Sweltering Suns. It's not bad for a slower red deck. What do we have here? We've got Folio of Fancies for mill. For 3 mana, we can tap this and have each opponent mill equal to the number of cards in their hand. And for XX and tap it, we can have each player draw X cards. So that's okay in a mill deck. Kind of like Sir Conrad here, because Sir Conrad's going to work well whether we're milling our opponent or we're milling ourselves. We're getting to drain them life with this, and we get to use the 2-mana ability to mill both players. So this is good. Whichever player you want to mill, it gives you access to that. Yeah, I like Sir Conrad here. Farrakhan's Spawn makes a lot of sense in the strategy just because of the ability that it has, but I think this card's just relatively a bit slow and a bit bad, because by the time you're escaping this, you have to have at least 6 mana to use the escape ability, so having your opponent sacrifice 1 creature that late in the game usually doesn't hit anything that powerful. So I'm not a big fan of the Farrakhan's Spawn, but that might be the next highest pick, or like Dawn-Treader Elk is fine also. It fills up your grave while ramping you up in mana. Now we do have a nice self-mill card here, Venomous Aerophant, 4 mana for a 3/3 Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, you mill 3 cards. One of the slower self-mill cards, so I don't love it, but it's pretty fine. I don't like Chainer's Edict a lot for the same reason that I don't like the Farrakhan's Spawn. By the time you have the mana to flashback it, your opponent is pretty likely to have some kind of bad creature to sacrifice instead of just actually hitting something good with this, but it does give you that value in the late game if you've milled it early with a Venomous Aerophant, and you end up in the late game with your 7 mana, you're getting some value out of it, even if it is just killing a small creature most of the time. I guess now we're taking Foreboding Fruit for a nice little draw spell here, because we're definitely playing black, and there's no really mill in the blue for like the blue-black mill here. Soulscar Mage and Banefire, both fantastic mono red cards. And the Lava Serpent's okay too, because you can cycle it in the early game if you're low on mana. Fanatic of Mogus, absolute banger of a mono red card. Just a sick card there. I guess we're taking Cultivate here. Mana fixing, mana ramp at the same time. Pretty nice. Oh, Castle Embereth for red too. Just great stuff going on for the red decks. I like Order of Midnight in these Golgari self-mill decks, because if you mill one of your early game creatures that you actually want to cast, like Grim Dancer, Nighthawk Scavenger, stuff like that, if you mill those instead of the cards you want to reanimate, it is nice to be able to just bring them back and recast them. Falconwrath Noble's good in a lot of decks in this format, but I'm not so sure about like the black-green decks, because black-green decks have a lot more individually powerful creatures than creatures that just like go wide and get sacrificed over and over. So I'm going to take the Order of Midnight here. And we actually don't have any reanimation spells or large creatures to reanimate yet, but we are still getting a bit of value from the self-mill with our flashback cards like Roar of the Worm and our escape cards like Voracious Typhon. So we still have a little bit going on there. I guess we're taking one of the 3-drop cards, Yavimaya Sapherd or Deathbloom Thallid. A 3/2 that spits out a 1/1 sapling when it dies, or a 2/2 that spits out a 1/1 sapling the second it hits the board. These are pretty comparable in power level. I guess I'll take the black one because we are heavier into black than green for sure. If I get a Grey Merchant of Asphodel, that would actually be very good in this deck just because of how heavily black we are. Lord of Extinction is pretty great in these decks. Timuret would be nice just because we're so heavy into black. Our black devotion would be pretty high, and this does shut off opposing reanimator decks. That being said, Lord of Extinction is just pretty much exactly what you want in the Golgari self-mill decks. This is going to be very huge very often. It's great to throw it in your graveyard and then reanimate it, or it's even good to just hardcast it because it only costs 5 mana. So Lord of Extinction is a nice pickup here. Ideally, we pick up Titanoth Rex. That card is a really good combo with the Lord of Extinction because Titanoth Rex can give its trample if you cycle it and throw the counter on it, and then Titanoth Rex obviously is a big 11/11 in your graveyard to reanimate later. So we're going to take the Eldest Reborn here, just because it's the only card in our colors, but again, Mono Red is looking great here. Anax, Dragon Fodder, and Scampering Scorcher, all fantastic cards for that build. Now we can take Plaguecrafter. The Folio is still in here, but pretty sure we're just black-green self-mill. We're not going to be blue-black mill here. Now Are either of these black-green? Nope, neither of those are black-green duels, unfortunately, so we're not really playing anything here. I suppose I just take like an unsummon, because we are the closest to blue out of any of the other colors. I don't think we're even playing Ashiok in this deck. Not really running any of these. That Fanatic of Mogis is going to go so late. Somebody's really going to get rewarded there. These are both just kind of useless for us. Sarkhan's Unsealing can do some really fun stuff. That does 4 damage to anything whenever you play a creature with power 4 or greater, which is really, really good. In your red-green decks, with just a lot of beefy creatures, all of a sudden every creature you play in the late game is just doming them in the face for 4 or getting rid of one of their blockers. It's just really good. This pack's very easily going to be back for more. It's probably my favorite reanimation spell in this cube. It's instant speed, it's a reanimation spell, and it's a removal spell, because whatever you're reanimating gets to fight one of their creatures, and usually you're wanting to reanimate something like Lord of Extinction that's just so massive that there's no way that it can't kill basically anything on their board. So back for more is absolutely wonderful here, and the other cards here, we're not really missing out on anything. We're mainly just missing like a Solemn Simulacrum. Ephemia can do some things in some decks, but you need to have a bunch of enchantments in your graveyard, and we don't have a ton right now. We just have like Brain Maggot, so Ephemia is not really a thing for our deck. Champion of Lamholt is really good in green aggressive decks. I don't think it fits super well here, but it can shut off all of your opponent's blocks, which is just ridiculous if she gets enough power. So really good card there. I guess we're just taking the Deadweight to have more removal in the early game, or the Overgrown Battlement for some mana ramp. This also gives us a nice 0-4 blocker in the early game. So we take the removal spell, or we take the mana ramp and the blocker here. I'm going to take the removal spell, I think. It's a really close pick, though. I don't know how I feel about that one. Alright. Gravebreaker Lamia is great in these decks because you get to search your library for any card, put it into your graveyard. So if you have a reanimator spell in your hand, like Back for More, you just throw whatever you want to reanimate into your grave, like Lord of Extinction. And if you don't, we can just throw a Roar of the Worm in our grave to flash it back, or Voracious Typhon in our grave to escape it. I think it's better than the other black-green cards in our strategy, but these other cards are good. Both Bastion of Remembrance and Erebos, both really good in a sacrifice deck. And Enchantress's Presence, pretty obviously just good in an enchantment deck. Now what do we got? Bolas's Citadel. This card scares me so much, but it is really good if you can go off with it. So I think it's the great with life gain, but other than that, it's pretty hard to do super well. I kind of think I want to just take another like big beefy creature like the Trollbred Guardian. Yeah, I'm going to take that over the Bolas's Citadel here. Card just scares me. Ooh, this is a very easy Grey Merchant, I think. We'll look over the other black-green cards here. Silversmoke Ghoul would be okay in this deck, because if we mill it, we can potentially keep getting it back from the grave. We've got some lifelinkers. Grim Dancer's a 3-power lifelinker. Baleful Amit's a 3-power lifelinker. Nighthawk Scavenger could be a 3-power lifelinker. Most of the time it won't be, though. Yeah, Silversmoke Ghoul's like okay in here, but I think Grey Merchant's just fantastic in here. We've got a lot of black and a lot of double black symbols, like double black on Conrad, Gonti, Nighthawk Scavenger, Grim Dancer, so we've got a pretty high devotion to black. We can drain a lot of life with a Grey Merchant in this deck. Ooh, now we get on Burial Rites, get another Reanimator spell. If we can pick up any green-white duels, we can even splash in the flashback part with just a single planes, thanks to Cultivate. And, oh, I was really hoping that was the green-black-white Triome, because that would be very perfect to pick up here. But it is green-black, so if this wheels or if Sunpetal Grove wheels, those are the things we like the most here. But we're definitely taking on Burial Rites. Get another Reanimator spell in this deck. I don't love Stab Wound. Just -2/-2 for 3 mana. It does make our opponent lose 2 life every turn, but that's really just good if you're really in an aggressive deck. Our deck is more trying to take over the game with a really big creature in the late game. Just have the biggest stuff on board. So I think I'd rather have like Doomed Dissenter to have a couple early blockers, because we're still really low on our very early stuff on the curve. We want to pick up more of that for sure. So we have Doomed Necromancer to take a 3rd Reanimator card, or we have Sifter Worm, another just big card to reanimate. It's a hard pick, because Sifter Worm is a pretty great card to reanimate, and right now the cards that we have to reanimate aren't the greatest. We basically just have Lord of Extinction. I'm going to take the Sifter Worm there, because I want to cut stuff like the Trollbred Guardian that's just kind of mediocre to reanimate. Well, Vastwood Fortification, I guess, is the only thing in our colors, but I don't love it. We did wheel the Overgrown Battlement. I'm definitely going to run it in here. 2 mana for a 0/4 blocker in the early game, and giving us the mana ramp. He is pretty fine. We did wheel the Bolas' Citadel. Now we do have a Grey Merchant, so maybe we've got Grey Merchant and Sifter Worm. So we've got a couple life gain spells. Silver Smoke Ghoul actually is going to get played in this deck. We've got enough life gain that I'm pretty confident we can return that 1 or 2 times. Alright, so we have 31 cards here. We got to make a lot of cuts. First things first, the most important part of every deck build is to get rid of those Parallax card styles. Oh no, we're keeping the Cultivate style. That one's beautiful. This doesn't do the whole 3D magical woobly warbly effect. Alright, they're gone. So let's sort out our creatures and non-creatures here to see what we're dumping on the board at what rates. Tons of creatures in this deck, but you want a ton of creatures in these decks. Generally, ideally, Azoni and Fiend Artisan are both fantastic in this kind of strategy, and they care about the number of creatures in your grave specifically. So that's why you like to take a ton of creatures here, but unfortunately we didn't get either of those. I don't love the Davriel here. It doesn't really work with our strategy that well. It can make us discard a card, but that's going really deep. That's probably just not necessary. Foreboding Fruit is kind of okay. Libation's kind of okay. Don't have a ton of removal here, so I kind of want to leave in Libation, Eldest Reborn, and Back for More as basically our 3 removal spells, and then Deadweight only kills small stuff. Not in love with Plaguecrafter in this deck. But I do have some things that work really well with it, like the Gutterbones and the Doomed Dissenter, stuff like that. I think I want to cut a few of our like high mana cost cards. Like we can cut Trollbred Guardian for sure, because the rest of our 5 and ups are just make a lot more sense in this deck. I suppose I don't have a lot of cards to reanimate though this way. But we've got the Lamia to grab them. We've got Aerophant. Is that really it? Just Aerophant and Gravebreaker Lamia to fill our grave? I guess then we're just using our Reanimator spells as just like value spells to bring back a 5-drop that died. So we're not really reanimating something massive here in the early game. So we're not doing the coolest thing you can do with Reanimator spells, which is to bring back like an 11/11 on turn 5. But I think they're still just good for value. We're definitely going to put 1 Plains in here for Unburial Rites. So 6 more cuts to go. I guess I'll get rid of Plaguecrafter and the Thallid. I like the life gainers to go with the Silver Smoke Ghoul and to also help us gain some life if we've been getting beaten down. Maybe I do cut the Bolas' Citadel. But now I have like 3 3-drop lifelinkers. The 1 Grey Merchant, I guess it's like 4 life gain spells. Sifter Worm. It's a pretty big life gain spell. With only the one card that actually mills ourselves, I feel like Roar of the Worm's probably pretty bad in here, because most of the time we have to cast it for 7 first before we get that flashback, and that is just a ton of mana before you start making worms. So I'll cut the Roar of the Worm. Now we need to make 3 more cuts. I feel like our early creatures all need to be pretty good at blocking, so Order of Midnight's kind of like a 4-drop because we're just like returning something with it. We can't block with it anyway. So I was thinking about cutting Brain Maggot just because it's not a good blocker, but I mean, now just seeing how few little creatures I have, if we do get paired up against one of those really strong like mono red decks or something, I think I need to leave it in just to be safe against those strategies. Maybe I am cutting Order of Midnight just because the 2/2 flyer that can't block's pretty bad here. And it's mainly in so you can bring something back if you accidentally milled it and didn't want to, but we've only got Venomous Aerophant in terms of stuff that like mills ourselves in the early game. Sir Conrad in the late game, but yeah, I'll cut an Order of Midnight here. Maybe a Foreboding Fruit. It's just a little draw spell mainly. Sure. And one final cut. Maybe we even cut the Aerophant and just have no self-mill in here, and we're all about trading off our big threats and then reanimating them later. Just trading off all these lifelinkers and stuff. Because Aerophant is just in general the weakest card by itself. You want to have a lot of stuff to combo with it for it to be great, because the 4-mana 3/3 Death Toucher is just not that impressive. Gutterbones is also a little weird in here, because we don't have any sacrifice outlets. We've only got the 1 to mill it. I guess I'll take out Gutterbones over the Aerophant then. I do like it as just like a 2/1 blocker, but we'll see. Hopefully we've got enough going on to survive the early game even with all this. I think having multiple 3-mana lifelinkers is going to be a huge help against those early aggressive decks. So let's see how our mana is distributed. We have 18 black symbols and 7 green symbols. But I do have Cultivate in green. I've got double green on Typhon and Sifter Worm and Arachneer, but Arachneer we can escape at 5. That's the only time we need double green. Oops. Yeah, we pretty heavily need black here. I think we take out 1 forest and put in 1 plains. But let's put in the nice Hour of Devastation basics. Gotta praise the God Pharaoh here. And then 7 green. Well, I have now drafted this cube. Let's see. I did 1 video and then I did probably 5 drafts. I think I did 3 on stream and then 2 just on my own time. So I've drafted this cube 6 times now, and the only strategies I've drafted are mono red and green black reanimator. That is one of the fun things about cube though, because all of the cards are generally quite powerful. You can kind of just stick to your favorite strategies a lot of the time. Especially if you have 2 different strategies to bounce between, because then, like, if mono red's not open, I can draft green black reanimator, and if green black reanimator's not open, I can draft mono red. Alright, this hand's fine. I've got some early game blockers going on, and then in the late game, I have Gravebreaker Lamia into Back for More. I've got, like, my 1 combo to actually reanimate something. Search my library for Lord of Extinction most likely. Bring it back for more. Looks like our opponent is very likely to be on mono red. They could be red-blue spells as well. This cares about instants and sorceries engraved, but is pretty fantastic in mono red. There's Young Pyromancer coming out. Would really love to see Deadweight or something like that, because Young Pyromancer is going to be very threatening. Phoenix of Ash. Well, we're just going to have a bad time this game. I think we just take the 2, because Chainweb Arachneer holds off these 2. If I chump block here, these 2 are also going to get in for 3. So I'm saving more damage by not blocking with Chainweb Arachneer than I would be by blocking with it. Does this enter tapped? No, it enters untapped. Okay, good. Really want to hit second black here for Gonti now. That would help the curve a lot. And be pretty sweet all around. 2 cards in our opponent's hand. They are red-blue. No blocks again. They could pump it and do 4 to us. We've got some lifelink coming out with Gravebreaker Lamia. There's the Deadweight. I don't have any second black source, so I can just Deadweight something here. Phoenix of Ash, they need to exile 3 other cards to bring it back from the grave. I honestly think I'd Deadweight Phoenix of Ash just to slow them down. But there's definitely an argument for Deadweighting Young Pyromancer, because the Phoenix of Ash can come back later once they have 3 other cards in their grave, whereas the Young Pyromancer can't. They didn't tap out for Phoenix's power, so they're holding up some kind of instant here. They probably have a counterspell anyway, but I don't really have a way to play around that. Deadweight's my only castable card here. I'm gonna go for the Phoenix here. Alright, they've got the counterspell anyway, so it really didn't matter what I tried to target there. Hey, they milled 3 cards that aren't a black source, so I like that. Puts us closer to our second swamp. Man, we were going to be really having a bad time these next few turns. Grim Dancer coming up with no double black for it. I only need to hit 1 more land of any kind to escape the Chainweb Arachneer, because I do have 4 cards in grave. So I'm going to try to trade Chainweb Arachneer for Young Pyromancer, and then if I can reanimate it, I can just kill the Phoenix with that, and then I have a 4 or 5 reach out. Seems pretty great. So if I draw any basic land here, I think we're just going to slam down Chainweb Arachneer as a 4 or 5 reach and shoot the Phoenix of Ash. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Pretty fantastic way to stabilize there. Next turn we get to play a 4/4 lifelinker, and then the turn after that we back for more. Pick up a Lord of Extinction from our grave and gain life on our blocks. I guess there's only 3 cards in graveyards right now, so we would actually prefer to throw the Sifter Worm in the grave with Gravebreaker Lamia, but that's okay. So what do we have? We have Sir Conrad, Voracious Typhon, Lord of Extinction, Grey Merchant of Asphodel. I think we're just picking Lord of Extinction, even though it's not going to be that big. It'll be a 4/4 when we bring it out, because Back for More will also be in our graveyard. Actually, if they escape their Phoenix of Ash, though, Lord of Extinction will be quite small. So actually, I don't think we can really pick Lord of Extinction here because of that. I guess we're picking Sir Conrad? We could take the Nighthawk Scavenger to have another lifelinker out, and it would be a lifelinking flyer with Death Touch. So I could actually back for more on Nighthawk Scavenger and trade it with their Phoenix if they bring that back later. Gain a life when I do the trade. That's okay. Yeah, I think it's Sir Conrad or Nighthawk Scavenger. I'll pick the Nighthawk Scavenger. And then we've got a 4/4 lifelinker out, so Silver Smoke Ghoul could be coming back. So we'll send in. trade off with their token and then bring back our ghoul later with Gravebreaker Lamia gaining us 4. Sifter Worm as well could easily gain us the 3 life we need to return Silversmoke Ghoul from our graveyard. They are 1 card away from escaping the Phoenix of Ash, so they might even block with the Lava Runner here for that reason. They do not. I guess, of course, even if they do bring back the Phoenix of Ash, I do have the 4 or 5 reach to block it. I am still 1 mana off from Back for More, so it might be irrelevant for now. We might just be doing Eldest Reborn this turn. Can't do Gonti, we only have 1 black still. Eldest Reborn's pretty fine here when they've only got 1 creature out. Make them sacrifice a real card. It is just a 1/2, but it's something. Banefire my lifelinker. Well, I don't love that. I guess I Back for More my other lifelinker, because I do really want to gain life here. I like that better than Eldest Reborn, I think. If they don't have instant speed damage, then Back for More at instant speed could be like really good, because I can put Nighthawk Scavenger out. Well, no, I'm going to do it right now. Because if I try to do it during their turn, if they have any instant speed burn, they can kill it before I fight, and then I don't even gain any life off of it, which is really rough. And also, if I wait till their turn, if they escape their Phoenix, then it doesn't have 4 power anymore, so I'm also gaining a small enough amount of life that I don't get my Silversmoke Ghoul back. So I think it was pretty important to main phase the Back for More there for multiple reasons. And our opponent scooped him up. So those lifelinkers did do wonders, stabilizing against the red-based aggro decks. Did we see a single blue spell from our opponent that game? I don't think we did. So they were pretty close to just mono red in that game at least. Okay, we're going first. We have turn 3 Cultivate. We've got all 3 colors. We get to pick up our second black off the Cultivate. Definitely a bit of a slow hand. We're not going to put anything on the board until turn 4, which makes me a little worried. Again, against quick decks like white or red aggressive decks. But we'll see here. It could definitely pan out. We've got a very powerful late game with this hand if we're against any deck that's just moderately slow. Alright, Sacred Foundry from our opponent is a pretty threatening land to see, because it's red-white, and those colors are pretty aggressive, but we drew a Deadweight, which is very nice here. If they are aggressive. Fauna Shaman, I think we're just going to Deadweight that over the Cultivates. The problem is if I Deadweight, I don't get to play Gonti next turn unless I just naturally draw a Swamp off the top, which is not super likely. I don't love that, but I also really don't like them being able to get literally any creature out of their entire deck with Fauna Shaman. So I'm going to Deadweight it, and I'm going to just drop an Arachneer here as well, just have a little chump blocker, and play land for turn. We're not going to be really using the 1 damage it can deal to a flyer right now. Luminarch Aspirant. Well, that's pretty scary. We did draw our Gonti mana, so that's pretty perfect. Now we have a Death Toucher out to block the Aspirants. We get whatever we want out of their top 4. Reclamation Sage, Gustwalker, Swarm Shambler. They are definitely an aggressive deck, because these are all just small, dirtly creatures. Just little aggressive dorks. These are not the kind of cards we'd love to hit off of Gonti. I guess Reclamation Sage? Because, I mean, we're not going to be attacking, really, so we're just going to take a 2-power creature. So, might as well take the one that maybe blows something up of theirs. I suppose Gustwalker only costs 2 mana instead of 3. So we could, like, if we draw a land next turn... Actually, I can Cultivate and cast Gustwalker next turn. Yeah, I don't think I'm taking Swarm Shambler. I don't think I'm going to sit here just putting counters on this thing. I guess it combos with Chainweb Arachneer if that comes back with counters on it. Nah, I think I'm taking Gustwalker. Next turn I can cultivate in Gustwalker. I would like the Reclamation Sage to be able to blow up an artifact or enchantment, but this leads into a good cultivate next turn. Oh boy. Now they have a Conclave Mentor with their Luminarch Aspirant. That makes me want to Eldest Reborn here instead, because these two together is a ridiculous combo, so whichever one I kill with Eldest Reborn I'm happy with. That being said, if I cultivate this turn, I do get to Sifter Worm next turn, which is very nice, but I just don't want this ridiculous combo to keep going on forever. I'm just going to Eldest Reborn here. One of the two is going to die. That's good enough for me. Probably Conclave Mentor dies because Aspirant's already a 4/4 now. It'll be a 5/5 on their next turn. I guess I do have a Death Toucher on my board, so who knows. They do sacrifice the Conclave Mentor. Alright, Trostani Discordant coming out. Everything gets +1/+1, and now they have multiple other targets to put their counters on with the Aspirant, which is pretty bad for me, because Death Touchers are great against a single threat, not great when they've got a field of creatures all getting bigger over time. So on the third form of the Eldest Reborn, we don't have any creatures in our graveyard, so we're just going to be returning their Fauna Shaman or their Conclave Mentor right now, or whatever they discard here. We will see. Opponent is definitely going into the Think Tank on this discard. They probably have like a creature that they don't really want, but they don't want us to bring back. And they're debating whether they discard that or something that they want a little more, but is something that I can't bring back. That, or they're just grabbing a drink or something. Just AFK for a second, it happens. It definitely happens. Discarded a Momentous Fall. Ooh, so we got rid of their card draw there. That's pretty nice. So I can Cultivate and Nighthawk Scavenger here, which leads into a Sifter Worm next turn. That seems like the only good play here. It's definitely better than Gustwalker. Grab another Swamp and another Forest, I guess. It doesn't really matter which one goes on the battlefield. I've got my double black held up. Got two Lifelinkers now, unfortunately, or two Death Touchers now, but they're going to have 3/3 lifelinking tokens, which we'll be able to trade with my Death Touchers, which is really bad. But at least I get to hold off the Luminarch Aspirant. Could start getting 3 a turn off my Scavenger coming in. Not with a Resplendent Angel on their field. Now I really want to hold back my Flying Blocker for that. Actually, I can just block with Chainweb Arachneer and play that next turn instead of Sifter Worm to kill their Resplendent Angel. That's pretty fantastic. Bolas's Citadel is great here because I'm still at 20. We're definitely not taking our Chainweb Arachneer. Let's take their... Conclave Mentor means that my Arachneer comes in as a 5/6 instead. But Fauna Shaman lets me search for stuff by discarding creatures, so it's good if I draw anything other than the Sifter Worm later. Kind of like the Conclave Mentor here. Because I'm going to be Bolas Citadeling in a second, so if I end up drawing a bunch of just weak small creatures, I can just play them off the top. Oh no, I'm one card engrave away from Chainweb Arachneer. That's actually very bad. Uh-oh. Oh, I thought I had enough. They're not going to block anything here, right? No, they're not going to kill any of my attackers here. Oh, that's so bad. 1 mana off from killing Resplendent Angel, and next turn they get to hold up all the mana to give it lifelink and +2/+2. This is a scary time. Yeah, if I send in with Gonti, the only way that Gonti dies is if they block with Luminarch Aspirant. I don't think that happens. They're just like, whatever, okay, I'll attack you then. Because they've got so much life gain on their field. And if I attack with Nighthawk Scavenger, then I can't block the Resplendent Angel. Well, this is pretty bad. I'm gonna play Bolas's Citadel here, see what we have on top. Land, sure. Aerophant? And that gives me enough to play the Chain Web Arachneer from the grave next turn. If they don't hold up the right amount of mana to pump their Angel, but I mean, they will. Never mind. They didn't hold up the mana. We get to kill Resplendent Angel next turn.
You think they cheer for you?
If we survive, Watley has a really scary -X. They can make X creatures unable to block.
Is your strength.
Okay, looks like we do survive, but they are going to get a 4/4 Flying Angel token at the end of this turn, which is really bad. Alright, they send in a 4/4 lifelinking token. I guess I'm trading with Gonti? Because I guess a 3/3 Death Touch on the board is slightly better than the 2/3 Death Touch on the board, and Gonti I could potentially bring back with Unburial Rites later in the game, which would be good. Yeah, this does suck that they're getting another Angel token. Oh my god, no! Trostani has flavor text at the bottom. Oh my god, that comes into play so infrequently that I totally forgot. Oh my god, they got their Gaunted creature back and they got their Eldest Reborn creature back. Oh my god. Well, I guess I just had no chance this game. Now Chain Web Arachneer does not come into play with an extra +1/+1 counter, so it comes into play as a 4/5, which is not big enough to kill the Resplendent Angel. Or their other Angel because of Trostani. Ooh, this is awful. Do they have an enchantment on their field? If they do, I know I kill that. Nope. I guess they sacrifice their 2/2. I'm just gonna cast everything off the top at this rate. I guess Sifter Worm, I do get to scry, so I am like setting up for Bolas's Citadel. So maybe I should play Sifter Worm first here. I like having access to the Chain Web Arachneer though. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna Sifter Worm over it because it doesn't kill anything. Just gives me another flying blocker. Alright, Grey Merchant's pretty huge here. It's not fantastic. Lord of Extinction definitely doesn't do much because they just chump block it. Alright, Grey Merchant, gain us some life, and then do it again. Alright. So I don't immediately die now, but I'm not in a great spot. I don't think I keep paying life here. Do I? You know what? Whatever. I'm so close to dying. I think we do it anyway. Unburial Rites. What does Unburial Rites hit? It hits Gonti, and then they just get back whatever I Gontied with Trostani's ability again. Alright, well. Unburial Rites can bring back our lifelink Death Touch Flyer. But it's not even going to matter because Watley gains them enough life to spit out an Angel every turn with Resplendent Angel. They don't even have to attack to advance their board state a ridiculous amount.
Their strength is your strength.
Well, they're just getting another flyer after this, but whatever. Let's gain some life. Bring back off of Unburial Rites our Nighthawk Scavenger. Maybe we just mill ourselves. Because I just don't have an out to this board state, I think. Let's just go for it. Let's just mill the whole deck. Well, I can do 10 of them off of Bolas's Citadel, which I also am losing 10 things to Sir Conrad, and I put Grey Merchant in my grave? But then Grey Merchant doesn't drain them that much. Let's see. So Sir Conrad, I do a damage to them for every time a creature dies. I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have exactly 10 non-land permanents, so I have to sacrifice everything to do that, and they take 9 from the creatures and 10 from Bolas's Citadel, so they take 19. So they go to 13 life, and then I can bring back Grey Merchant off of Unburial Rites. That just does not do it. If I have a way to sacrifice Grey Merchant and only Grey Merchant, bringing back Grey Merchant one time here would do it. Oh. Maybe we send in with an all attack and see if they kill Grey Merchant there. I don't think we can all attack though, because if we all attack... Oh god. It is a rough time. Whatever, let's send in Grey Merchant. They're not gonna kill it, but maybe. What? Oh my god, yes. Well, we've got a big chance now. Get up here, Grey Merchant. Get up here. Let's do the thing. Let's go. Yeah, we did it. This is lethal, right? Unburial Rites on Grey Merchant should be the final damage, even if this doesn't get him. But I think this gets him right here. Oh, that's Exactsies! Oh my god. The recovery after Trostani giving them all their stuff back, gave them their Gaunted creature back, and it gave them their God, what was it? Their Eldest Reborn creature back. That was an insane game. Tinkerer's Cube, you know, stuff happens with the cube. It's pretty crazy. You know what, Bolas's Citadel? I'm glad I put the Bolas's Citadel in here. The card scares me every time I see it, because I just don't love going to like 9, spending 11 life. But wow, that was the win con this game. That was massive. I'm so glad I didn't just scoop him up too. Just gave him the chance to kill our Grey Merchant, and then we just reanimate it for the 12 damage. That was a crazy game. Crazy game all around. I'll keep this one. I've got Mana Ramp and a blocker in the early game, which is more interaction than usual. Our opponent starts with Temple of Malice. Could be Rakdos Sacrifice. Could be 5 color, could be Grixis Control. Could really be whatever they feel like. Alright, Dark Dweller Oracle. Rakdos Sacrifice it is. Just gonna roll out an Aerophant this turn, Lamia next turn. We have milled a Baleful Amet and an Eldest Reborn. Not really anything we want to reanimate. Foulmire Knight. Drawing a card, losing a life. We've got the Deadweight for the Dark Dweller Oracle. I like that because it makes it so they can't active treason one of our creatures and kill it with the 1 mana ability here. But I don't think I do it immediately. Let's just keep curving out. Have some threats here. Gravebreaker Lamia. What do we grab? Kind of want to grab like Roar of the Worm here. Oh, I actually cut it. Never mind. Silver Smoke Ghoul's alright here if we can gain the life off the Lamia. It comes back. But since we don't have any reanimation spells like in hand, I don't really want to put like Lord of Extinction in grave or anything. Maybe Voracious Typhon. I have 3 other cards in my grave right now. Only need 1 more card in there for Voracious Typhon to come back. And Deadweight would go in the grave. Typhon could be the option here, because Typhon's going to come back eventually no matter what, whereas Silver Smoke Ghoul's only going to come back if they don't immediately kill my Lamia. I'm just going to go for it anyway. Throw the Silver Smoke Ghoul in there, see if we can do the thing. Be pretty fun. I've got a Deadweight to get things out of the way to make sure that Lamia can't be like double blocked for lethal. If they play their Death Toucher, we are going to Deadweight the Death Toucher so we can get in with Lamia. Ooh, Judith. Well, Judith makes things worse here. Ooh, back for more. I can make sure my Gravebreaker Lamia is back for more in a little bit. I think we deadweight the Foulmire Knight, because Judith is the one dealing damage. So they do 1 damage to something here, and then maybe I could even, maybe I just deadweight Judith, honestly. And if Gravebreaker Lamia trades with their Death Toucher, that's fine. I still get my Ghoul back, and then I have back for more up later. I guess I could back for more right now, but it's not doing anything crazy. I guess I pick up a Baleful Amet and gain a bunch of life. Get a Silver Smoke Ghoul back. I'm already getting Ghoul back with Lamia. Yeah, let's just get rid of their nonsense. Just get Judith out of here. Let's not worry about that. Throw 1 damage on the Aerophant here. 1 damage to her face, okay. Well, now Aerophant gets to survive, I guess. Foulmire trades with Lamia. And Silver Smoke Ghoul comes back in the end step, right? Yes, cool. I suppose I'm just playing an Arachneer for giggles. I don't expect the 1 toughness flyer coming out anytime soon to do a damage to. Six cards in hand for our opponent with 4 mana up. Here comes a Kroxa. Well, I'm going to draw a card off Silver Smoke Ghoul because there's no way I'm discarding back for more. I will discard this land. You can go ahead and do your damage, Kroxa. Ooh, that's a really nice combo. Since it was going to sacrifice itself anyway, they get the extra value sacrificing it to draw 2 with Village Rites. That was pretty cool. Reassembling Skeleton. That is a very nice blocker. I'm just going to main phase back for more here, I think, so we can send in easily. They can't double block Aerophant. We pick up Gravebreaker Lamia, grab our Voracious Typhon, so we have a big escape card coming up. I do need 1 more mana for it, though. If Lamia dies, I guess... Yeah, I guess it only costs 6 to escape right now because of Lamia's effect, so that's really cool. I've got enough mana with my Battlement currently. It's pretty fancy. And thanks to fighting with the Lamia, I am bringing back the Silver Smoke Ghoul. Silver Smoke Ghoul's putting in work. Actually doing the things. Our opponent's down to 12. Feeling relatively good this game, but they've got a bunch of cards in hand because they have stumbled on mana a little bit. Haven't been able to just like dump out their hand or anything, so they can have plenty more like blockers and interaction coming up. Sir Conrad's kind of scary. Do I want that over Voracious Typhon? You know, at 24 life, I'm pretty sure I do. I just drop that down right now, so any trades that happen are also draining our opponent life, which is really good. They can block Chainweb Arachneer with the Deathbloom Thallid, but then they're taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They can't really afford to do that, I don't think. So we send it in for the extra 1 point of damage, because they probably trade off with a 3-power creature. That is the case. Sir Conrad getting him for 2 here. We are very close to dead. Reassembling Skeleton. I think Sir Conrad triggers off that. Nope, only when a creature leaves your graveyard. That is a really weird distinction. When any creature dies, or when any creature's put into a graveyard, he deals damage. But only when creatures leave your graveyard does he deal that damage. That is a strange distinction there. I was expecting to get the final ping, well, not the final ping, but a third ping for their Reassembling Skeleton leaving a graveyard, but I guess Conrad is selective about the graveyards on that ability only. Either way, pretty much had it in the bag. Full field, even if they had some kind of Wrath effect, now Conrad would kill them. Sir Conrad definitely coming in clutch for that final few points of damage. So we're 3-0 here. Any losses we get at this point leads us to at least a 3-3 record, so my my win rate of never having more losses than wins is continuing on in the Tinkerer's Cube this time around. Just having pretty good luck with it thus far. This is a little bit of an awkward keep because we really need to hit some lands here, but I like that I have deadweight against early aggression. I guess the curve is high enough in this hand. I probably should have mulligans, but I really like my late game plays in this hand. Now that I've played with Bolas's Citadel one time, I'm actually in love with the card. Start drafting it like super highly. Alright, opponent didn't play any creatures, so we have nothing to kill off of Furka's Libation, so Baleful Ammit is a pretty fantastic draw. Looks like they might have a Censor or an Essence Scatter here, because they are holding on it. Essence Scatter it is. So maybe like green-blue flash kind of annoying stuff. Just playing all their cards during our turn. Not the funnest deck ever, but I will deal with it. Let's go to main phase 2. They are holding some kind of instant. Let's see if it's a counter, because I have nothing else to play here, so I can't really just sit here and be like, well, they have a counter, so I'm not going to play anything all game. Alright, it is a counter. Kasmina. Ah, she makes 2/2s? Dang. Eldest Reborn, I was going to say, if they only have one Planeswalker on the board, no creatures, Eldest Reborn would be lethal on her, and that'd be really cool, but nope. I guess we're playing Nighthawk Scavenger while their shields are down. Could also Libation to kill their 1/2/2, or Deadweight to kill their 1/2/2. Yeah, it seems not great. I think we just play Nighthawk Scavenger. Nighthawk Scavenger can snipe Kasmina from the skies. Targeting Kasmina does cost 2 more to do, but luckily Eldest Reborn does not target if they didn't get a 2/2. So our Deadweights cost 3 until we kill Kasmina, but Libation still only costs 3, and the Eldest Reborn costs 5. Solemn Simulacrum. Well, now Libation is very bad. They just get to sacrifice their creature that draws them a card. Do I even need to kill Kasmina? The only thing Kasmina is doing now is making it more expensive to hit their stuff. They must have a Deadweight in hand. They've got 1 black mana up. I do have Reanimator cards in this deck. Eldest Reborn is one of them right there. I'll make them have it. Show me the Deadweight. Because I'm gaining life here even if they're killing Scavenger. And I'm trading for a creature and a removal spell. Yeah. Makes sense. I'll take the somewhat 2-for-1 trade there. Eldest Reborn, they sacrifice Solemn Simulacrum and draw a card, but then they discard a card off of it. Like, it's that or I'm killing one of their creatures. Yeah, I'm gonna Eldest Reborn here. I guess the biggest argument for not blocking their creature there would be, since they're in green and blue, they could have Proliferate, in which case we really want to kill Kasmina. But if they don't have Proliferate in their deck, the only thing I was really wanting to do with the Nighthawk Scavenger was kill Kasmina anyway. And she's not doing that much without any Proliferates. Scavenging Ooze, I absolutely despise that that card is in this cube. Basically, in one of my Golgari Reanimator runs, like the only game I lost was when my opponent cast Scavenging Ooze and the Wanderer, which was just absolutely brutal, because back for more, you return a thing from your grave and fight something when it comes into play, and the Wanderer prevents all non-combat damage, so fighting doesn't do anything. I had like Voracious Hydra, which fights when you cast it, but fighting doesn't do anything with the Wanderer on the board, and then obviously Scavenging Ooze, they just shut off every Reanimator card in your deck. And this game looks to be going very similarly with the main deckable cards that absolutely destroy our deck, Scavenging Ooze and Wilt. Kill the Eldest Reborn, get rid of anything we could reanimate. I don't have the mana to cast Deadweight and Farrakhan's Libation because Kasmina makes Deadweight cost 2 more. So I can Deadweight Scavenging Ooze, but then it's still a 1/1. It still survives, and it starts exiling more things and getting bigger. If I Deadweight their 2/2 this turn, I can maybe Libation the Scavenging Ooze next turn. If they don't draw another creature. So I guess that's the play here. It's definitely not Lord of Extinction, I think. I guess they have a lot of stuff in their grave, so Lord of Extinction is still going to be moderately big. I think I really just have to kill Scavenging Ooze as soon as I can. Well, the block on the 2/2 is actually panning out incredibly terribly. I did not realize they were going to have a Scavenging Ooze coming in. If it weren't for Scavenging Ooze, it wouldn't be that bad, but if I didn't make that block on the 2/2, I would have been able to kill Kasmina, which means I would have been able to Deadweight and Libation that turn. But I guess they'd have another 2/2 on the board, so Libation wouldn't kill Ooze in that scenario. Yeah, true. True. If I didn't trade for that 2/2, they'd still have 2 2/2s and a Scavenging Ooze on this board, which means Libation wouldn't be able to kill it. Lochmere Serpent. What? What? 7/7 unblockable? I can return it from their graveyard to their hand. I do have a Baleful Ammon in grave. I can get an Unburial Rites going here. Well, Libation doesn't get to do what I want it to do, since they played another creature here. This is really rough. I think they just sacrificed Lochmere Serpent if I Farrakhan's Libation, right? That seems like the play. Because Lochmere Serpent can come back from their grave if they exile 5 cards from my grave. But then they probably stop making me sacrifice things. Or they stop exiling things from my graveyard with the Ooze if they do that. Oh, they just sacrificed the Ooze. I'm very happy with that. But I am on a 3-turn clock to the Serpent, which I'm not happy about. Alright, so I actually get to do Unburial Rites things and Lord of Extinction things. I need some life gain to slow down their clock here. But if I play Lord of Extinction, they're on a turn 2 clock if they don't have removal. But I die first in that scenario. I do die first. Because I take 7 next turn, then I take 7 the turn after that. So I would take 7, deal 12, take 7, die. If I bring back the Ammit, I take 7, then I'm at 3, and then I attack and gain 3, and then I take 7 and die. So I still just die if I bring back Baleful Ammit, even though I do gain a little bit of life. Well, let's play Lord of Extinction. I guess we make them sacrifice islands now, or have a removal spell for Lord of Extinction. Well, that's embarrassing. So, yeah, we were definitely screwed no matter what here, because they could just counter Unburial Rites too. Lochmere Serpent is one hell of a drug. Even if we had like our lifelink Death Toucher out here, it doesn't matter, it can just be unblockable every turn. I don't know what they're holding on here. 2 cards in hand. Well, I'm at 6 mana, I can Bolas the Citadel and kill myself. Die the honorable way. Unless they counter it. That would be incredibly rude, opponent. Ah, oh, it's a 4-drop. I can't even cast that. I don't have enough life. Sad. Can't even go out on my own terms this game. Alright, well. You win some, you lose some. Take the wins with the losses there. I think blocking the 2/2 was probably incorrect. But honestly, with the way that the game went after that, with Scavenging Ooze and Kasmina and all that stuff, or Scavenging Ooze and the Lochmere Serpent and all that stuff, I'm probably losing that game anyway. Those cards are just very good against me. Just manipulating my graveyard. Definitely, I think Scavenging Ooze is the best card in the cube against Golgari Reanimator. You really hate to see it every time. So 3 wins and 1 loss. Still going at least 3-3 here. Nice even record. In order to profit in these drafts, you got to get 5 win runs though, so that's what we're really wanting to hit. That being said, I've got plenty of gold because I have been doing pretty well on these so far, so I can afford a few losses in value. Really want a black source here, but I do get to play turn 2 Overgrown Battlement. That's 3 mana. If I draw 1 land by turn 3, I'm playing Typhon. I'm gonna keep it. I do have a lot of black sources in here, more black sources than green for sure. I have 9 black sources in the deck, 5 green and 1 white left. Here's our Overgrown Battlement. We need to draw any land in the world this turn. Alright, well, not exactly the land we wanted, but we get to have some action and do some things in the early game here. Only need a single swamp, and then I can cast everything but Sifterworm, which is very nice. Luminarch Aspirant is a terrifying card, as we saw a couple games ago. Just makes things really big really fast. Fun combo with Incubation Druid too, because once Incubation Druid has a counter on it, it taps for 3 mana. So actually mana ramps like an insane amount here. They get to tap for 4 mana here. Next turn they have 7 mana. 8 if they play another land. It's pretty crazy. Well, no black source yet. Do get to play a little Chainweb Arachneer, have another... Okay, that was weird. Arena was really lagging out there. I do get to play a Chainweb Arachneer, just have another little chump blocker here. Again, there's basically like no 1 toughness flyers I can think of. So we just play this to chump block early, bring it back later with the escape ability. Ooh, Collected Company. Do like that card. Into Militia Bugler. That's a lot of value there if they can hit something off that. Hey, nice. Alright. Definitely not as bad as if they hit like Bugler and Mentor off of the Collected Company. That'd be absolutely insane. Oh, wow. Well, I think we just lose. The mana ramp off the Incubation Druid leading into an insane turn here. Got to play that turn 3 Collected Company into Militia Bugler, into Conclave Mentor, so Luminarch Aspirant now puts 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature every turn, and Tendershoot Dryad on the board, because they had 8 mana there, or 7 mana there. Well, and I'm still stuck on the black mana. I think we're dead. I think we're very dead. Oh my god, opponent's just going off. Ajani comes out, gets to put 2 +1/+1 counters onto 2 of their creatures, thanks to Conclave Mentor. This is bonkers. This is a pretty crazy way to lose. It's a fantastic deck from our opponent. That just immediate insane amounts of ramp there. The Conclave Mentor just really going crazy. We are definitely going to chump block with the Arachneer because it's like the cheapest escape card, I guess. Only costs 5 to escape instead of 7. Both require 4 other cards in the graveyard though, so I don't think we're going to get there. We do have our black mana now, so I can cast anything but Sifterworm. Deadweight can kill the Aspirant, I guess. That's honestly probably our best play, but it doesn't really save us here, because the rest of their creatures are still going to keep getting massive from Ajani. Ajani's putting 4 counters out per turn, 2 on 2 different creatures. So Aspirant isn't even the scariest thing, it's just the only thing I can hit with Deadweight. It is one of the scarier things, but Tendershoot Dryad and Conclave Mentor are the most important creatures on this board, and Deadweight just doesn't do enough minuses to get them. They do have 3 mana up because of Incubation Druid, so I was going to say, who knows? They could have some kind of hexproof spell to prevent that. Titanic Brawl. There goes our Voracious Typhon. So we've got 1 blocker. We chump block there and take... They put 2 counters... They put 4 counters total onto their other stuff. So we take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So we are dead on board. They don't even need another removal spell, but they may have one.
Look how far you've come.
So even though they put 2 of their counters on their Summoning Sick one, I'm still dead on board. I'm just exact Z's now instead of 2 damage overkill. Oh my god. Oh my god. 2 damage overkill, you say? Make that 12 damage overkill. Pride of Conquerors. Whole field gets +2/+2 till end of turn at instant speed. That was a really nice deck from our opponent. Very well crafted. Well, 3 wins and 2 losses. Whatever happens here, I'm happy with it. 3-3 run. Didn't 2-3, didn't 1-3, didn't 0-3. We're keeping with at least a 50-50 record. That was insane. That was a really nice deck. I'm a lot happier to lose to that kind of just insane plays than to lose to Scavenging Ooze harassing me. I just don't like Scavenging Ooze. It's just a mean card. Why can't Dredge players have their fun? Let me do all my graveyard shenanigans, please. Alright. Well, we actually have both of our colors here. We've got the turn 2 ramp with Overgrown Battlement, but I do need to hit another black source for both of these cards, which is awkward. I need to hit 1 more land of any kind for the Typhon. This is definitely a better keep than the last keep I did, so we'll just go with it. Alright, not the second black source, but that opens up Voracious Typhon turn 3. At the very least, if we draw another swamp, that'll be beautiful. And then we just have access to everything in our hand. Perfect. Alright, never didn't have it. Are we against 5 color here? Red, white, black, red, white, blue. They could just be Boros. Because both of these are red-white duels. Alright, they're at least red, white, and blue. America.deck. Send in for 1 with the Arachnir, I guess. Hopefully, oops. Hopefully they're not like America Control and I'm about to get counterspelled here. Counterspell's even not the worst, because I can't escape that later. I guess like a Pacifism would be the worst thing in the world. Because Pacifism, I would never get to bring it back with the escape because it would just sit there on the board doing nothing. Looks like they're mainly blue. That's 2 blue sources now. 3 blue sources with the Triome. Alright, 4 mana. That means I've got 5 mana thanks to the Battlement. I think I don't really want a Grey Merchant till I have the Scavenger out as well, so I'll just attack with my Dorks, and then we play Scavenger this turn. I like having the Unburial Rites back up. That'll be pretty fun. Here's a Scavenger. No counterspell. I don't know what is going on here. Ooh, a removal spell. Ral's Outburst. Okay. 3 damage. Look at the top 2. Put 1 in the hand, 1 in the graveyard, so they get to set up. Draw another removal spell, most likely. So I guess we're against like blue X control. Blue and some other stuff. Nicol Bolas coming out here. Nicol Bolas is a 4/4. Oh boy. Do I discard Grey Merchant here? If I draw... I'm going to discard Grey Merchant here, because if I draw a land, I'm going to deadweight my own Chainweb Arachnir so I can kill Nicol Bolas, because that's really important to kill. And worst case scenario, I can Unburial Rites Grey Merchant, so come on. Land? Ooh, let's do it. Get in there, deadweight. I should have attacked first. I get a free damage that way. Oh, I don't have enough cards in grave. I'm one card off again every time. But I still get to get there soon enough. So now we have Burial Rites. And then I still have the exact same number of cards engraved this way. That was awkward. Definitely take the Flying Death Toucher lifelink here. Oh, if they just destroyed my Typhon instead of tapping it down, I would have enough for the Arachneer. God. Well, now I have enough for Arachneer. Nice. Thanks. Whew. Of course, they could have a counter spell up now. That would make a lot of sense, playing the way they did. Oh my god, if they were just exiling cards from my grave, that'll be really bad. They're looking at it. Oh, why? Why they got like Scavenging Ooze and Erebos' Intervention? They got all this stuff. They were worried about the Golgari deck. Like, hey guys, the Golgari Reanimator deck might be just too good. Let's make sure there's like 500 cards to destroy it, I guess. It is a sad day for Golgari today. Now they have the mana to flip Bolas, so it's basically over. That's just how this card works. Once they flip it, -3 to do 10 to any creature. They could just kill a creature every turn, and it starts with Seven Loyalty. They draw 2 cards off of a +2. We're just dead. So that is going to be a 3-3 run out of this Golgari Reanimator deck. I did feel like it was definitely the weakest of the Golgari Reanimator decks that I drafted. We just didn't have any really big stuff to reanimate. And running up against Scavenging Ooze and Erebos' Intervention, you're just very likely to lose both of those games. So 2 of these losses were basically losses no matter what. The loss against the Lochmere Serpent deck was very awkward.
Death means nothing to me.
Alright, I'm not going to play this anymore. It has been a while since I have Salt Scooped, but Nicol Bolas the Arisen to take my own Gonti and take another card from my deck is going to get me there. Nothing against my opponent there, though. That was a really nice multicolored blue deck. It was like blue X control, using blue as the core with a lot of counter spells, and then... Well, actually, I don't know if they countered that much, but it definitely looked like with their mana base. Blue as the core of the deck, splashing in other powerful instant speed interaction. Really cool deck from our opponent there, but definitely does suck to lose to the Nicol Bolas, because that card is super scary when it flips. Absolutely bonkers, and it uses your own cards against you. Brutal stuff. So, as always, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. If you want to see more of this content, stick around, like, comment, subscribe. I will be back again tomorrow with another draft on the YouTube. Or if you want to catch me live, check out the Twitch channel in the description below. I do draft live quite often whenever I have the time to draft, but I've already uploaded a video for the day because I don't want to spam you all with like 5 draft videos per day if I'm ever just drafting an absolute boatload. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow.